swimming through the winter for 4 years now. I gradually increased how frequently I come, and I often come between 2 and 5 times a week, depending on my work schedule, the weather. And so I have this love-hate relationship with it. I'm Claire. I own the campsite and a small holding. I'm an academic, a historian, beekeeper, shepherd, cafe owner as well.
I'm James. I do everything else. I don't know. Lots of stuff. Take care of the campsite, take care of the small holding, and whatever she says. Yeah.
So generally, how I start my morning depends on the time of the year. In the summer, if my goats have already kidded, so they're in milk, I'll get up, have some breakfast, walk the dogs, then I go and milk the goats and feed them. Then I'll go and get the cafe ready. The cafe's open at weekends and in school holidays a little bit longer, and do the cafe in the mornings. In the winter, it's a little bit different. Everything slows down a bit. So we'll have breakfast in bed and eat cake. And then pretty much I walk the dogs, check the goats. Sometimes I go for a swim. Sometimes I have to go to London, so then I have to leave really early, about 6 o'clock in the morning. So it depends what I'm doing that day. It's always quite different.
I start my mornings very similarly in that it depends on the time of year, and I just sort of, it depends on what's going on. Hey girls. Whether it's an animal issue, whether it's a campsite issue, whether it's sort of priorities, whether it's a daylight issue. You know, if it's late December, early January, it's not daylight until 8 o'clock or so. And so even if you're up at 6, you can't do a whole lot outside. So you just sort of take care of yourself and go with the flow.
Because during the year, we also bring small children here. I gotta make sure that these are fine with touching and petting. So almost every time when I feed them, I always make sure I do a bit of a touch, bit of a pet. Because they're still a bit twitchy. She's the twitchiest of them.
Okay, so how did we get involved with running the campsite? My grandparents bought the campsite in 1971, juggling what they did, and they won in the campsite. And I spent a lot of my holidays here and weekends here, so this was one of the places that I grew up. Then my parents took over the campsite. My dad was running it. Then the short story is, when he died, we talked about whether we'd take it on. I've got a sister who lives in Sweden, and she thought it would be a good idea if we did. So my dad died, and we went, yes, why not? So in terms of trying to live sustainably, I guess would be the jargon now. I grew up in a family where we grew all our own fruit and vegetables, and my mum made her own bread, and she made all our clothes and stuff, and it scarred me for life. Basically, as a child, I just wanted shop-bought food and shop-bought clothes.
My background's completely different, and it's a matter of, I think, when we got to this point where we had this sort of blank slate situation. We don't have any family, we don't have any parents here, we don't have children to sort of worry about. It is just us. So we figured, in some ways, we were consciously trying to make those right decisions along the way that have the least impact and the best sort of opportunity to sort of facilitate for long-term consumption needs.
When we moved here, it was logical that we would I would continue to grow fruit and vegetables.
So the PV array was one of our first investments that we did.
I think living here, and especially starting the small holding, has been a really steep learning curve in many ways. We didn't know anything about animals beforehand. I think I'm quite scared of animals. And then we started off with 6 chickens, which is a bit like a gateway animal. Totally. You get a few and then you think, why not? And then we got pigs and sheep, and now we've got goats and bees, and all of this we knew nothing about. But other than that, it was trial and error. It has been transformative. Do you want to have a go? It's really nice.